Yeah, I don't even really want to get into it. I heard Job was bragging about how well he can polish a car that don't run, doesn't have brakes, interior's a mess. But I guess making it look shiny, is all that matters. That's the importance of having a car. It's got to be shiny. So what if it don't run? Brakes don't work, interior, you can't even sit in it because the car's loaded up with junk. Anyway, I'd rather get into something a little more important and a little more serious nature, and I can directly relate this to Jobber and you people that are cheering him on. Whether you're helping him or hurting him. You've seen those commercials, friends don't let friends drive drunk. You know, Saturday night we're at Knuckleheads and somebody says, hey, how's Scotty doing? I said, I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy in a little over 2 years. Really? You guys were real tight. You grew up together. So yeah, we were. Not anymore. Sometimes you got to cut a friend loose because their problems become your problems. And now you become so immersed in trying to help them when they don't even want to help themselves. I became stressed out and worried more about him than he was about himself. There are some guys that they become dependent on needing a caretaker. There are guys that never get married, they live with their mother, you know. And you look at how they live. Yeah, they might hold a job, but they like to drink, they like to gamble. They really don't have much in life. They don't have a lot of responsibilities with bills, paying their own rent, gas and electric. They live with their mother and they just do what they want to do. For self-gratification, not taking any responsibility, not thinking about their future. What happens when your mother dies? What are you going to do now? You know what I mean? I've seen quite a few guys like that. They get married. Their wife has to treat them more like a child than a husband. The wife has to become more responsible about paying the bills than they do. The wife has to make sure, clean up after them. Tell them when it's time to take a fucking bath because they stink. Tell them they're drinking too much. Tell them they're smoking too much. Tell them, hey, you can't be, spending money on the lottery. We got a gas and electric bill here. Hey, now we got kids. They got to eat. They need clothes. You can't hold a job because you got drinking or your other activities. And then the wife leaves them and they don't know how to live. They don't know how to live. They don't even know how to take care of themselves because they've always had a caretaker, and that can happen with friends. He lives like 3 blocks down. His brother lives a few houses from me here. His brother has a nice car. Dave has a real nice car. 70 Chevelle SS 396. It's a 350 horse version, red, black stripes. He's had it for over 40 years. Garage. He takes it out on weekends. Dave's a pretty nice guy, pretty level-headed. And even Dave gave up on his brother. Dave used to call me, hey, Brian. I'd call Dave, hey, Dave, Brian, I gave up on Scotty. Maybe it's about time you do too. Scotty's drinking got worse and worse and worse. Couldn't hold a job, but he was living for free with his mother till she died of COVID. His father died from cancer before his mother. And then his brother Dave took over the house. Out of the kindness of his heart, Dave allowed him to keep living there for free. He had 3 apartments. He lived up in the attic, and then it got to a point where he couldn't even go up and down the stairs anymore. He gained a lot of weight, 460 pounds. Then he got diabetes, kept drinking. Came close to losing his leg, real close to losing his leg. I don't know if he has since, because I haven't talked to the guy in pretty close to 2.5 years. Once upon a time, I was on Facebook and interact with people. And every day, every night. Oh, he finally went on disability. Paid his gas and electric, and then the people that lived under him on second floor, they moved out, and his nephew and his wife moved in. And even then, now he couldn't pay his internet and his cable, and he was spending all his money on booze. And because his nephew had Wi-Fi and they were in close proximity, his nephew let him tap into his Wi-Fi for his internet and stream TV so he could watch TV. And he barely managed, to keep his lights on with electric and gas for his heat. And people enabled him. You know, enabling someone doesn't help them. You know, you people enabling Jabba, encouraging him to keep doing what he's doing, knowing full well, like I do, this guy needs some serious psychiatric help. Come on, how much more obvious can it be? Are you blind? You call yourself friends, encouraging him to keep doing what he's doing. And when people say, dude, you're off your fucking nut, even when they mock and ridicule him like I do and others, you get pissed off at us. You want to make him happy. He used to go, like Jabba, he'd go on rants on Facebook, rip-roaring fucking drunk, making a total fucking fool of himself the way Jabba makes a total fool of himself on here. You know? And the people that would say, hey guy, you got to cut that drinking. Dude, you got to stop doing these lives on Facebook. You're making a total fool of yourself. They would attack them the way you people attack, you know, other people. You know? I don't go on anyone's channel, leave any comments. Never have. I'm not that type of guy, regardless of, even my friends. I don't even sub their channels. I don't sub Jabba. I know he subs me. You know, I'd see them telling Scotty, don't listen to them. You keep doing what you're doing if it makes you happy. You got a guy that's a rip-roaring alcoholic, and you're encouraging him to keep drinking. That's destroying his health. Massive weight gain. To the point where now he's on a third floor apartment, an attic that his mother converted into an apartment so he could live there for free. Can't even make it up and down the stairs. He's had to resort to his nephew downstairs. Now, this was over 2 years ago. I don't even know what's going on now, and I don't want to know. He was having to have him go down to bring his mail up to him. When he went grocery shopping to get his food and bring it up to him. He became trapped in that third floor attic apartment because he couldn't even get out to go down the stairs. If he managed to get down, he couldn't get back up. You know, when he had his doctor's appointment, he'd have his brother and his nephew help to get him down the stairs, get him there, help to get him back up the stairs when he was going once a month. You know, because he had to go once a month. When he needed his medication from the pharmacy, his nephew would go. His nephew became his caretaker now, like his mother was. His brother became his caretaker until he finally got fed up. The only thing they did was keep allowing him to live there for free. Other than that, he's like, nah, if you don't want to help yourself, I'm done having to be a caretaker. And you're not doing a fucking thing to help yourself. You can't help someone that don't want to help themselves. You know, someone that's a drug addict or an alcoholic, you can send them to every fucking detox, AA, NA meeting you want. Unless they want the help, they'll keep drinking and drugging. That's just how it is. And what is a friend? You know, he used to call me crying the blues all the time. You know, I used to call him. You know, I was a little more involved in Facebook at the time. I had a page and shit. And I'd see him on there. I'd call him, Scotty, what the fuck are you doing? You're making a total fool of yourself. What are you, 13 years old at a Black Sabbath concert? He lives for Black Sabbath. He'd have Black Sabbath music blasting, and he's there rip-roaring drunk. He loved his vodka with a beer and a bottle of vodka, slugging it down on videos, and sometimes he'd fucking nod out, even puked one time. And his friends are cheering him on, who he thinks they're his friends. And I knew some of these guys, and I'd run into him. What the fuck's the matter with you? Trying to help this guy kill himself? Oh, he's having fun. Leave him alone. Call yourself a friend? Watching him commit suicide on the fucking layaway plan, and you're okay with it? You encourage it? You support it? That's what you guys are doing with Jabba. Very apologetic. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I was always right. Yeah, Brian, I know you're right. I shouldn't do that. Say, Scotty, I don't give a fuck about being right. It's not about being right or wrong. I'm just telling you, man, dude, you're fucking killing yourself and you're making a fool of yourself doing it in the process. You got to smarten the fuck up. Stop drinking. Take better care of yourself. At that time, he had diabetes, and a doctor said, you know, I might lose my leg. He'd call me crying the blues. Call me with every one of his problems. And it got to a point where I was getting emotionally wrapped up into it. I felt like I was more responsible for his alcoholism and his state of health than he was. And at times I get off the phone and Billy, what's wrong with you? She got pissed at me. Brian, cut Scotty loose, man. You know, he's dragging you down with him. That's what alcoholics and drug addicts do. They drag their whole family down with them unless their family finally has to cut ties with them. You know? See a lot of them homeless alcoholics, homeless drug addicts. Why doesn't their family take them in? Because their family is just fed up with them. You know, their family would take them in. They laid around the house, didn't do shit, made a mess, ate all their fucking food, didn't want to get a job. They were fucking slobs, didn't, you know, caused problems. The ones on drugs, they were fucking robbing their own parents blind. So they put them out. Now they're homeless. So it's parents' fault. It's supposed to feel sorry. No. Comes a point you stop feeling sorry for someone. And you say, that's it. Get the fuck out. You're on your own. I'm through being taken down by your addiction, by your behavior. They need to save themselves now from this person that needs to take responsibility for their life. And, you know, the only time he knew me was when he had a problem. Call me and ask me for money. At first, I used to give him money. I go, he has 50. I need $50. I don't have enough. I gave him, you know, money at times. I stopped doing that. I'll pay you back. I knew I was never going to see it back, you know. But he was a friend, and, you know, we've been friends since we were like fucking 13 years old. He never got his driver's license, never had a car. Didn't even care. Didn't really care about women. He used to hang out in clubs and bars and shit and get into a lot of trouble, you know. And I got into some trouble with him at times, even though I didn't drink. You know, at times in bars, you know, two guys would jump on him. I'd get involved, you know, to help out my friend. I don't want to see him get all fucked up. And I got too involved. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had a text. You know, it got to a point where it's like he was dependent on me to be his caretaker. The way his mother was his caretaker. And I was getting too immersed in his problems. I was getting too immersed into getting involved with other people and trying to set them straight, saying, listen, man, you say you're his friend, you're helping this guy kill himself on the layaway plan. You're encouraging this guy to keep making a fool of himself on Facebook and people are laughing at him. Call yourself a friend. And hold on one second, another fucking text. Sorry about that once again. You know, it's like I began to shoulder the burden of all his problems. I became the shoulder for him to cry and bitch and whine to and constantly apologize. Yeah, I got tired of hearing him say, Brian, I know you're right. I should stop drinking. Brian, I know you're right. I shouldn't be going on YouTube, Facebook, getting rip-roaring drunk, making a... Brian, I know I shouldn't. I know I should. I'm always sorry. I got tired of hearing him say, I'm fucking sorry. And I just cut him off. He'd call me. I wouldn't answer the phone. After a while, we took a hint, you know. And I had to cut my ties. I don't know what's happened to him since. But this came about because Saturday someone said, hey, they had no idea. This was George and the crew. Hey, how's Scotty doing? I meant to ask you. I said, I don't have a clue. I haven't spoken to him in, I think, close to 2.5 years now. Because, you know, people know him. Hey, did he ever get his leg cut off? And I said, I don't know. I don't have a clue. And I'm not about to call and ask and find out. I want nothing to do with him. What he does is on him. But the whole point of this is, you know, he became surrounded by people that he liked. He liked the people that were telling him, don't listen to them. They even said, don't listen to your friend Brian. If doing what you're doing makes you happy, you keep doing it. Well, Brian here was the guy that actually cared about whether he dropped dead. Brian here was the guy that cared about whether he got his leg amputated or not. These guys did not. These guys were not the one he was asking to borrow money from. Asking, you know, he wasn't calling them crying the blues. They were not all wrapped up in his problem like Scotty got me wrapped up in his problem. That was my fault. I allowed myself into that situation for far too long, for a few years. And I finally had to say enough is enough, you know. Maybe some people, when they found out, maybe he went and bitched about me. Hey, how come, you know, you don't talk to Brian? Maybe he talked shit about me because he didn't like the fact that I finally had to leave him on his own, fend for himself. I wasn't going to be his caretaker. I wasn't going to be his crutch to lean on. I wasn't going to be the one that had to, he had to depend on. I wasn't going to be the one that cared about him when he didn't care about himself. I had to cut him loose, clear cut. No more. I've had enough. And you know what? I was a lot happier for it. What happened to him, I have no fucking clue. But this reminds me of what you guys do with Jabba. You're cheering him on, you're supporting him, you're saying, don't listen to Cabral, don't listen to that one. They're all liar, they're this, they're that. They'll just want to attack us with whatever they can pull out of their ass to try to discredit us so that they can continue to help Jabba do what he's doing. It's not good, you know. I haven't heard anything about him, whether he lost his leg or not. I don't even know if he's still alive, if he finally did drink himself to death. But if it should happen and I hear about it, I will go to the funeral, just out of respect. But I wonder how many of these Facebook friends is, and all these guys here, they live in the city, they're locals. I wonder how many of them will show up at his funeral.